Hello everyone, welcome back to our SQL tutorial. So this is lecture 5. We are going to move on a little bit deeper in our query writing. If you could remember, in lecture 1 we covered how we can set up an environment for SQL, and we are using PostgreSQL. And then in lecture 2 we showed how we can write the command prompt to make some changes in our database and create database. In lecture 3 it was also an extension of that, and in lecture 4 we have loaded with data in that database, right? So, and also there were some query writing, the basic query writing. Someone needs to start with SQL and to move on, right? So now today we are going a little bit deeper into our query writing. But before that, let me tell you some of the other features of SQL. So in SQL, there are different data types, right? The data types could be numeric, then they could be character, they could be boolean, they could be date time, and then they could be data structure, array, and JSON, right? So in the numeric data section, there are several other ones like small integer or a small int, then integer, big int, decimal, numeric, and all others, right? So I'm not gonna spend that much time on there, but I have created a new database. So the database is same, but I have extended some more information in there to write the query, so we can write different queries from different tables, right? In that one I have also created some null values, so you can, if you want to query the null values, then you can do that to see whether you have any null values in your data, right? um, and when you are creating your database, and if you have any issues creating the null values, write a comment in the comment section. We can review those and make things more easier for you guys to load the data in the database. So let's start writing some SQL code. In SQL, there is one of the feature is called like. um, if you use like, just using like, you can give some keywords, and from the keywords SQL will try to find uh, that matches with the like keywords from the database. So this is a very important feature of SQL, because um, when you are in a database, you don't know what you can have in the database, or what it might content in the data set in your database. So if you use like statement, that gives you kind of an essence of what is in the database, right? But on here today we have three tables. Let's explore those tables. So one table is demo employer employee, so the demography of the employee, then their position details, and their salary and department information. They are in three different tables. Let's first explore what we have in our database. So when we have three different tables, and they have different information scattered in there, then you can use where statement, or you can join the data set. So let's start exploring them. So let's write select, then asterisk sign. So when you are giving an asterisk sign, so you are calling all the column of that particular table. So we are saying select from, say the table name is demo underscore empl, give it a alias name, so I would give say DE. Then we have other tables, so position underscore detail, give it a alias name of PD. Then we have another table, salary underscore depth, so department, give it a um, alias name of SD. Okay, so now go to the next line. When we have that, uh, when we have all the tables name in the from section, then in the next line you have to say where. So you are going to tell from where you have to join the data, or on what basis you are going to query the table. So on here you have to say where um, DE. So we have IDs on each table, where DE ID equals PDID, and say DE dot ID equals SD dot ID. Okay, so let's run them to see what we have in there. Okay, so now you have all those columns on those three different tables. So we have IDs, we have gender, race, color. So these race, I've just given them on the basis of the continent, right? Rather than providing any other race, and then they're based on their whatever. And then the date of birth, so this is a timestamp. If you want to change the date in a different, you want to view the date in a different way, you can also write some other comment. So we will go through those later in this lecture. Then we have the age, then we have address, then we have first name, last name. Then see, you have ID again from the other, so it looks kind of a messy look when you are doing the where statement and joining the IDs with where. So that's how it looks like. This, you can see there's a duplicate column of ID. But if you use the join statement, then the look will be different. Then you will not see those repetitive columns that each of them has in their table. So let's use another option over there where we want to implement like. So say and so we have address, right? So on here, address like. Then once you say like, put an inverted comma, and in between that put the percent sign, and then say you'd like, so you like to see wherever it has ABC city, comma, and the state is AB. So these are all fictitious, right? So the AB state doesn't exist anywhere probably, and those are all fictitious addresses. So let's try to run that, see whether it runs or not. Yes, it ran properly, and see on here you have only those elements where it contains the ABC city and then AB. And if you'd like, so the like is a very useful feature in SQL. So when you are going through your data set or database, you don't know what they have in that, use like. And then if you would like to order them by say you'd like to order by their gender or by their ID, right? Just say. So if you say de dot id, then it will, so we already have them in order when we are querying them. But if you say that um, you want to see them in descending order, just write DESC. It should do, let's see. Yeah, it changed the order, so it put them into the descending order. So this is some useful techniques to do those queries in SQL. So let's move on and say you want to see um, someone's some of the employees where they have a salary range from in between, say, 65,000 to 90,000, right? Let's write that code. So we have select, then we have from. um, the salaries are in salary department. So if we would like to query that, we need to have the salary department, and then you'd like to see their name and their gender and all of the things. So I will join two of the tables on here rather than three of the tables, because say we want to see only the salary and then their department IDs. Okay. So a particular department ID. So let's just say so we would like to see demo, then employer as DE, and then we would like to see um, the let's just add all the tables. Say position detail as PD, and then you have salary, then department as ST, and then you want to say where you want to add where you want to um, how you want to by which column you want to join them. So where you have to say de dot id equals pd dot id and de dot id equals st dot id. Okay. Now as you want to see a salary range, you have to use where. So you can write and then you have to say the name of the table where the salary contains, so that contains in SD, and the name of the um, uh, column is employee salary, and then tell them what you want to see. You want to see the salary between 65,000 and say 90,000. Okay, and you want to see only a particular department, and the if you could remember, the department ID column is department.id, department ID. Say there were several departments. Let's just say we want to see only the department 10,000. Okay. Let's run the script to see whether we are able to successfully write that or not. It seems like yes, we were able to successfully write them. And as you can see, this is department. So department ID is 10,000 and this department name is administration, and you have the base salary, upper limit of the salary, and then the employee salary is in between 65,000 and 90,000. Whoever falls in that range will appear on here. So you don't have a huge data set, rather than only those employees ranging from that particular salary are in there. So this is one way. Another way you can write your query. And then if you would like to see how we can rewrite the query using the joint statement, so on here you only need to change several different things. So from, so you will write the same query, but in from you will have this. Then on here you have to write join, and you are joining position detail PD, okay, on you are joining de dot id equals you are joining pd dot id. Okay, then you have to do another join because there are three tables. So we just joined two table in this third line. Now we are going to join the third one. So join, now say salary department st, we want to join them on de, or we want to join them on pd id equals st dot id. Okay, so you want to do the join. If you do the join, you will not have the messy look, rather you will have a more sophisticated look where those IDs will not appear more than once. Okay, so but on here you have to remove this part. You don't need to join them in the where statement, rather you can have the query where you want to see the salary range and the department ID. Okay, so let's run that. So it ran properly with the same similar information, where you will not see the ID more than once, rather it joined them on the basis of the IDs. So ID will appear only once, and it has a very neat look rather than when you are joining them in where statement. Okay, so moving on, and definitely you can, if you would like to do any order on here, so you have to write order by what order you want to see them. Just write order by and then the column name. I always like to use alias, and on here you can write as de, or if you if after a space, after the name of the table, if you give an space and write a alias name, just like a nickname, you can write that without the script. Okay, so moving on. So as you can see on here, we have the date, right? If you want to see the date in a different way, you can do that. So you have to do that when you are writing the script in the select statement. So say for example, let's write some column name, right? So de dot id, then we have gender, then we have race, then we have the date of birth, right? So say we would like to change the date of birth string into a different look. So on here we have, first we have the year, then with a dash, month and the day, and then you have the timestamp, right? So let's change that. So if you write to char, so it's changing it to a character, right? Then if you write the name, so it is on de dot date of birth, and then if you give how you want to see them, say we want to see them in year, then we want to see them in month, then we want to see them in date. Okay, and then say we want to see the current status of the employee. Okay, so current status, let's see where the current status was. Current status of the employee, current status, I'm just looking at the column names to see the current status of the employee is in which table. So position detail, yeah, so current status is in position detail, so we give that a alias of PD. So if we write PD, then current status, okay, so current status, yep. So let's run the query to see how it looks. So as you can see, it has changed the date format to this. So we have, first we have the year 1997, then we have the month 03, so March 13, so March 13 of 1997. Okay, and it only gave only those columns that we queried on here. So all these employees are in active status, and this is their race, this is their gender, and all those. So let's move on. So on this part we are going to explore group by. So let's just say we want to see we want to group by all the information by the department ID. Okay, so let's just write the queries. So select, then say we are giving a alias name of PD, then department ID, then say we want to count them, that how many people are in each department. Okay, so count, then put an asterisk sign. Okay, and then from, so this information is in position detail as PD, and then we would like to say we would like to group by PD department ID. Okay, let's just run this query to see whether we have written this correctly or not. Seems like we have written this correctly, and it's showing that there are 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 department. So in this department we have only one employee, then in this department we have 21 employees, and so on, right? So very quickly we can count all the employees for each department just by doing a group by, and then by doing a count. Okay, so if you'd like to see the salary, average salary of each department, you can also do that. So let's see where we have the salary information before we can. So the salary information is in salary department, so that's in a different department, so we have to add another table on here. So we have the department, then we have the count, then say we want to see the average salary, right? So the name of the column is employee salary, and this is SD, so SD dot emply underscore salary. So you can see the name of the column on here. So we are telling them we want to see the average salary, but on here we have to add one more table, the table salary department. So SALARY, then salary department. So give it alias name, and we have given that name of SD. As you can see, we already did that, but you have to mention this, otherwise it will not work. Now what you need to do on here, you have to say where, or you can join them by join statement. So let's just do where pdid equals sdid. Okay, and we are still doing the grouping by the department ID. Let's just run it. So it ran properly, and it gave an average salary for each department. So on here, let's just do one more thing. Let's just do an order. Okay, um, so if we do an order, so and on here you can see the salary in a scattered way, right? Like if you want to see at a glance which department has the highest salary, um, you can definitely find that, but still looking messy. So let's them order them, right? So you can see them very quickly. So write order by say sd dot employee salary. Okay, let's run it. Oops. So on here, what happened? So it's not liking. uh, let's just say this, let's give it a name of as average salary. Okay, now run it as average salary. Okay, so it should run properly now. So we ordered them by average salary. So first, this is the lowest salary, then you have the highest one. So it seems like this department has the highest salary, highest average salary. Okay, so I would be exploring the new concept of giving a name of the column in the next section, but as we ran into an issue on here, I just gave the alias name on here. So for each column on here, so whatever you have after the select statement, whatever you write, so you have to write the variable name, right? The column name. So this is a variable name as well. So when you are writing the variable name or the column name, it will show up as that, right? Sometimes you want to see a different name than whatever the variable or column name is in the database. So if you want to change them, so if you write as after that variable, if you write as and whatever name you want to see them with. So say for example you want to see department ID as, say, department. Okay, then you want to see the count as number of employees. Okay, and then you have the average salary as average salary. Okay, now if you run it here, you will see the name of those column will change. Let's do one thing. Let's put an underscore sign after them. So if you give a space, SQL doesn't like it, so you have to put an underscore sign if you'd like to have them with a new name without any space. So department, so it renamed that department ID to department, and then it renamed the count to number of employees, and then it renamed the employee salary as, or with, rename the average with average salary. Okay, so this is also an useful feature of SQL, where you can give an alias name or a nickname to each column. Okay, so try to remember those, and if you put in a space in between the words when you are renaming them or giving an alias name, you cannot have a space in between them, so on here. But if you're using an inverted comma in some of the SQL, you have to use inverted comma to give an alias name, but we are not, so we always have to provide in PostgreSQL, you have to provide an underscore sign, or without the underscore sign, if you add them together it will also work. Okay, I'm just showing you a different way of doing that thing, but if you're putting an underscore sign, it gives you much information within a second, so you don't have to go whatever you have written with those without any space, right? So let's move on. So on here, as you see, we did where you definitely can join all the table using the join command, left join, right join, whatever join you prefer or is applicable at that point. Okay, so this was all the contents of today's lecture. I hope you enjoyed the lecture, and if you need any other thing, I can definitely go through those new topics. But definitely in recent time, I will be posting more videos on SQL and definitely about Python, probably on machine learning or other pre-processing elements that are needed in your day-to-day job at work. And if you are doing your PhD or any other grad studies where you need more of data analysis in your project or in your dissertation, definitely you can use those features. And guys, there is always that thing at the end of this lecture or end of any lecture: never stop learning.